It's my most used weapon in Battlefield 5. It's a weapon that I picked up as soon as the game came out and absolutely loved it, and many people regard it as one of the best weapons in the game. I am of course talking about the M1A1, the all-rounder assault semi-auto rifle. You unlock this at level 5 in the assault class, so it's not too difficult to get hold of, and most of you watching have probably tried it, or at the very least unlocked it. You can have an extended magazine and a 3x scope, turning this thing into the ultimate spam cannon. You can also use it with a 1x scope in CQB if that's what you prefer, or kit it out to be slightly more effective and hip firing in close quarters. It has a good range of things that it is effective at. That's what makes the M1A1 one of my favourite weapons in the game. With a max damage of 30, a minimum damage of 22, you are guaranteed a 4-shot kill in CQB to mid-range, that's pretty much beneath 50 meters, and a 5-shot kill at long range. Within 50 meters, this weapon is incredibly effective and very, very fun to use, especially if you're combining it with something like the Piat launcher or the AT grenade pistol. It has a 449 RPM, and that is where it gets the name the spam cannon. You can really fire some rounds downrange and cause some serious damage to enemies. It has a nice reload time, making a full reload very easy, and also if you have only used a couple of rounds, again it's a very quick reload. It's one of the best in the game, especially for a semi-auto rifle. The recoil is incredibly easy to control, barely anything to worry about on PC if you are used to a semi-auto rifle. On console, I'm not exactly sure whether it's difficult because of the amount of times you have to spam this weapon for it to reach its full potential, but I'm sure that the better players will have no trouble spamming it at 449 RPM or something close, and then controlling that recoil in order to get follow-up headshots. In this video, I'm going to talk through the M1A1. I'm going to tell you why it is one of the best weapons in the game for pretty much everything, why I consider it the best all-rounder, or at least one of the best all-rounders, not only in the assault class but in the game in general. I'll tell you my loadout, what I like to run, and how I have pulled off some of the clips you see in the background, in most of it grind, the best game mode for this sort of stuff, but as we might not always be able to play that, some other modes and how to pull off some clips in those as well. With the M1A1, you're coming up against other semi-auto rifles such as the Gewehr 1.5, the Selbstlader 1916, the MAS 44, the Gewehr 43, and then a weapon I've already done a review on, the AG M42. The M1A1 does something a lot of them cannot do, and that is the larger mag spam. Its 449 RPM is really quite special, and with the extended magazine you get access to 31 rounds instead of just 16. As you'll see from some of the clips in the background, this allows you to dominate small clusters of enemies on modes such as grind and grand operations, whilst the weapon still remains fairly decent at these longer ranges versus a pesky sniper or a bipodder. I would say that it excels in those moments where you require a quick kill before moving on to another target. Take a look at this clip in the background. The AG M42 is also very good at this, but you do not gain access to the large magazine, meaning it cannot be as versatile. You're often having to reload after getting just 1 or 2 kills, sometimes 3, while the M1A1 can go to kill 5, maybe even 10 players in one magazine if you hit your shots. The AG does also get better damage drop-off, meaning it can engage at longer distances, but you can just attempt to avoid those engagements and focus on targets within your 50-meter range with the M1A1. Yes, it's not perfect. It can't be the most effective at absolutely every individual thing, but it is a great all-rounder. It will do everything at a high level. Due to the easy to control recoil, you will be having loads of fun with follow-up headshots. What I mean by this is when you snap to an enemy or when you aim at somebody, you usually try and aim for the head, and you tap them once in the head, and then the recoil of the weapon, that first shot recoil, will make it difficult to get a follow-up headshot. Maybe the recoil moves to the right or vertically upwards, and then you have to drag back down to the target to shoot again. With the M1A1 there's very little vertical recoil, or at least it's very easy to control, very little, if absolutely no horizontal recoil, and there you go, your headshots are very easy to pull off. Maybe you start in the body and move all the way up, so you go for a 2-shot in the body and then move up to the headshot. This weapon has little recoil, making it easy to do whatever you want, and also move from target to target without much trouble whatsoever. So when it comes to the weapon itself, how do I run it? What specializations do I go for? Well, you can start with the recoil buffer, which will reduce the amount of recoil you get upwards. You could go for the quick aim. It is useful, and maybe that is something you would prefer if you can deal with that vertical recoil, and maybe that is what you prefer, but that is something that is up for debate. Next up, I go on the full left-hand side. I get slings and swivels. I then go for an extended magazine, and that is where the weapon really excels. Having that larger magazine means you can spam more enemies. The custom stock means improved accuracy and aimed fire whilst moving, and then the lightened stock means you can move 60% faster whilst moving. Again, very useful, but not as useful as the large magazine, so that's a trade-off you have to take. I went for the hip fire specialization as opposed to the 10% faster bullets, because I felt that having that hip fire in CQB was very useful, as you'll see in some clips in the background, but again, that is personal preference and completely up to you. When it comes to the customization, well, this isn't exactly the best weapon for customizing. There isn't a whole lot of stuff you can do with company coin. I prefer it with either the mint skin or maybe the night owl skin. I like it to be fairly subtle. It doesn't have a whole load of stuff going for it. Maybe the STG would be a weapon that is more apt to looking really cool compared to the M1A1. Now we're going to take a look at a clip in the background. It's one that has been running for a little bit, and it ends up with that awesome kill streak that I showed at the start of this video. I'm using the M1A1 and the Piat launcher, which is very useful. Yes, it's on grind, so there's a huge amount of enemies, but you can do this same thing on Conquest, as this map is very, very full when it comes to enemies and camping behind little fortifications, as you'll see in a second. So yes, I go down, but I make use of my squad to get involved and get me picked up. They're a good squad, and they're always looking to revive and help me out, or help each other out whenever they can. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but that's fine. They're just making sure that the area is clear before they go in for the revive. Now, the thing that I'm looking to do here is get a flank and really use this weapon to its full potential. As you can tell, it has a selection of different things that it's good at. Not only can you ADS and really take enemies down with that 3x scope, but you can also hip fire in CQB, use your gadgets to blast a hole out of the way, and then map knowledge will really help me in this position here, as I need to get over towards the enemy team and get this little kill streak. So this is what we do. I take a look to the side. I don't spot anybody, maybe 1 or 2 players that are possibly going to shoot me, but not a whole lot. I move my way up the side here and, well, onto the big kill streak. The enemies have forgotten to fortify the side of Alpha, meaning I can get involved straight away, and this is where the big magazine comes in. Look how many players I can shoot before having to get a reload in. If I was more accurate, I could have had a few more as well. Now this is what the M1A1 is better at than any other semi-auto in the game. It can spam really quickly and just gobble up the kills without even breaking a sweat. The hip fire coming in at the end there before I get a bit greedy and get taken down, but a lot of kills in that short little streak, and I don't think any other semi-auto could have done a better job. Let me know in the comments what you think of this semi-auto rifle. Do you think the M1A1 is the best in the game for this sort of stuff? I think it's the best all-rounder. I'm interested to see what you have to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.